All right, so before I get started here, come over to ztrades.net. Check out our terms and conditions page if you agree to it. Join the Discord if you're not in it. It's free. If you don't agree to it, don't join the Discord. And don't join the Discord and do not watch this video or any of my videos. So let's go ahead and get into it. I'm going to be talking about inflation, my frustrations with the Fed, as well as my bearish and bullishness at the same time at different periods, which I will not be putting my money where my mouth is. I'm just going to take the sidelines here on SPY, on the market. I'm going to be talking about crypto. I'm going to briefly go into gold, which I love, which, get this, has smoked the S&P and the Dow going back 20 years to now. It's also beating the S&P and the Dow year to date and within 1 year. If you go to year to date, January to now, and a year ago from today to now, gold is beating it, and the downside is limited. So yeah, why it fell before back in 2022 was quantitative tightening, and gold runs inverse of rates. What are rates about to do? Why has it been running up? Anticipation. But we have bearish divergence. I'm not going to touch any more gold until I can see a drop. That trend, though, going up, that angle is very bullish, though. So it may override this bearish divergence that we have here on the weekly. I'd love to see a nice drop, though. We'll see if that happens. But let's get back to it and talk about the inverted head and shoulders that we have on SPY. I did call out the 1, 2, 3 reversal we had on the weekly. Let's take a look at that on TOS. All right. Uno, dos, tres, resistance. And yes, it did work. It played out. It dropped quite a bit from 564 to a $10 move. It did work. But it shot up immediately. That is bullish. We're going to break out of this. I really think we're going to break out of this. I think we're going to see a new ATH. Okay? Now, going off history, which I do like when the probability is very high, when it does the same thing over and over and over and over, I kind of like those odds, right? September 2020, big drop. May 21st, September 2021, drop. September 2022, massive drop. Now we went from freaking 432 to 340. God, it's nearly a freaking $100 move. 1/3 the price. Gosh, that's ridiculous. 1/4 the price. September 2020, September 2021, September 2022. Let's check September 2023. Yep. But there's some confliction here, guys. Again, we have possible rate cuts, which is why I think the S&P is going to hit ATH in anticipation of that. But then right after that, we have quadruple witching. It's quadruple witching month. Monthly expirations, triple witching, quadruple witching. So we have FOMC Fed rate decision on the 18th, I'm pretty sure it is. And I'm almost positive on that. And then the 20th, we have quadruple witching, also known as triple witching. I don't know why the two different names. You always see that confliction in the write-ups everywhere. But technicals say what? That we're going to go up. Left shoulder, head, right shoulder. I really, really wanted to see this shoulder play out a bit more. Because we did have a 1, 2, 3, but it didn't. I was looking for it to close. I wanted to close in this area and then reverse and go back up. But look how bullish it is. It shot down $10 and sucked right back up. That is very bullish. And again, based off what I just said, if you think about why it did that because it's anticipating rate cuts. The Fed, we can't wait. It's too late as it is. We're in trouble, right? So, there's whole industries that are just like beyond wrecked. Consumers as it is, people in general are destroyed right now. They have no savings. They're in the record debt. The administration in place has not done a thing about inflation. What they've done is fire money at fires that started because of inflation to put those fires out, which is inflationary, right? It doesn't work. You got to take care of it on the back end. The Fed can only do so much. They can raise interest rates, dump their balance sheets. The government, the administration that's in, and the Fed need to team up, right? I'm big on stock market history. We can go all the way back in the playbooks and see what happened under Volcker and Reagan. They both worked together, and yes, they solved the issue. Did they get it to 2%? They left it around 4%, and it's like, whatever, and swept it on the rug, and they cut, and everything went. But the monetary system was a lot newer, and you could afford to take the Fed rate. If you're just going to be using the Fed rate, the rule of thumb is you need to take the Fed rate higher than inflation. So real inflation was, like last year and in 2022 was running like, 12 to 15% using the old metrics. So you basically have to take the Fed rate to 15%. That you can't do that now because the world that we exist in now is not used to something like that. Back then, you're taking it from, anything below 8 was bullish back in the 70s, all the way up until the 80s, right? Anything below 8, the market would take off because it was used to things being that high, and things started and functioned with rates being that high, right? The Fed rate being that high. So if they couldn't make it, they wouldn't have existed to begin with at levels like that, right? Rather than, from 08 to basically 2022, it was at basically nothing, So anything could start up. If you can get like a little bitsy tiny return, then you're in the green and you can just keep operating. So to wrap up SPY before I move on to crypto here, left shoulder head, right shoulder, and this is bullish because the 1, 2, 3 reversal did not play out. It played out, but it did not hold and close low. It closed back up because we're anticipating a rate cut. We should have been hiking interest rates in early 2021. Hey, we're just going to do a quarter point. We'll see what happens, right? They kept saying it's transitory. We all knew that was nonsense. And they're late to cut interest rates. So, the damage is done here. We have, 40% baked in inflation, and whole industries being completely wiped. A lot of them needed to go, though, to argue against what I said. Who's been around for a while that's been watching my videos? Y'all remember 2016? It was marijuana companies. If you were a marijuana company, it was like almost the IPO bubble in the .com. You said, I have something, marijuana, right? The stock would go nuts. I remember people making just unbelievable amounts of money on the OTC as well on some of these MJ companies. Then it moved over to EV, blockchain for a while. 2016 marijuana blockchain, 2017, 2018, a little bit. Then EV, then solar. There was another one I'm missing in there, and now it's AI. There was NFTs for a little while. Remember that? That doesn't really count too much back in 2020. PLBY was doing that. You all remember that one. And there was a couple of other companies. But anyways, I'm getting too off topic here. And a lot of those companies that shouldn't exist, high interest rates take them out. They kick the can up the hill. They just refinance their debt. They pay themselves whopping salaries and burn investors' money and waste everybody's time. All speculative tulip trading. Again, all of you need to study stock market history to know what I'm talking about here when it comes to that. And there was no real value there. They weren't making money. It's just you're betting. Like, give me a 7, right? And these VCs and other companies are just dishing money at it. That is one benefit, one of the many benefits of having interest rates go back up. But you all keep in mind, because we've got quad witching. I'm still bearish on quad witching. I'm bullish leading up to about a couple days before rate cuts or possible rate cuts on September 18th. I'm bullish up till then. After that, I am bearish on quad witching. Now, for the rest of the month of September, because we have had Septembers that weren't that bad. Last September, which I remember like it was a second ago, which is pretty scary, we were bullish all the way up until FOMC. This time there's a possible rate cut. The Fed cannot wait any longer. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did, right? Just like they waited. We're like, what are you doing? Inflation's kicking back in 2021. We heard the numbers start coming out. And all the regular people that have nothing to do with this, like, I don't see it. It's like, yeah, well, I hear it when the data comes out, and you're gonna see it, And we're like, why don't you cut? Hurry! And they waited like a year, and they're like, no, we're gonna wait till it's really bad, and then we'll start when it's too late, which is exactly what they did, which was stupid. Now we're like, it's like the stock market is, excuse me, is shooting up while consumers are in the most debt they've ever been in history. And you have whole industries getting completely wiped, right? Commercial real estate being one of them. And the market's going higher, and it's going higher in anticipation of the cuts. Now, just because there's rate cuts, guys, I'm not saying we're going to crash. I am saying that I see housing market going down a little bit, not like '08. Because the qualification for the people to get the loans, they're very strict on it. They were very strict on it this time around. You had to have very good credit. You had to be making a lot of money, and you needed to put 20% down. But you all do know that there was rate cuts right before the '08 crash, and other crashes. There was rate cuts, and the rate cuts triggered the crash. There were rate cuts right before the great housing market collapse in 2008. No joke. But everyone thinks, oh, rate cuts. I've only been trading for a few years, so COVID, we went up. I don't know how that works out with us being toppy and nothing making sense right now. Like nothing. Would it shock me if we just kept going? And just no, absolutely not. Because that's the overall probability of where the market goes is up. Wouldn't shock me at all if we just kept going and going and going for the next couple years. Wouldn't surprise me. But I am worried about the banking system. Are a lot of banks who have unrealized losses that they're not declaring, and I'm hoping they're not just going to kick the can up and then declare it next year, and then there'll be a crash, right? Who's going to be president next, they are going to dump a world of crap on them. Kind of like, I'm not going to get into all that with the stock market history, but that's kind of like where I'm at right now. So I am a bear. I'm a bull. I'm a bear with bull horns coming out. I'm both. I am bullish and I am bearish on September. I am bullish leading up to FOMC. After that, I am bearish for the rest of that week, starting Thursday going into Friday. The week after that, I wouldn't say I'm 100% bear. I would more so say I am 60% bearish, right? Tilting to the bearish side a bit. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Crypto, well, it can go down as well with the market. It is not an inflation hedge. Overall, when inflation's running, let's just say 3% and everything's stable, yes, it's a hedge against that. Is it a hedge against crashes? Absolutely not. Gold is, depending on what's going on, but we can go back to SPX here. We'll pull up SPX. We can see it further out. We'll go to a monthly chart. Let's pull up. Yeah. Okay, so we can see we had rate cuts right in here. And then we had a collapse afterwards. Just because we had rate cuts when we were toppy doesn't mean that we're going to fall, right? But let's take a look at gold. Okay, we're going to go back to '08. And this is right where we started having rate cuts, and we took off. It started to send gold going here quite a bit. Gold was already going, though, because people, back in '05, gold got a lot of attention because they were like, what's going on with... Yeah, you can see right around here into '05, we started to take off quite a bit because people are looking at all the money printing, which they thought it was big back then compared to now. It is not. There's the cup and handle. I've been talking about the cup and handle since COVID. that had been building over in here a little bit after COVID. And I told you all, when they are going to be cutting interest rates, you need to be looking at gold. I've been saying this for years now, and I did put my money where my mouth is, big time on that. And it has been fantastic, and it's smoked, believe it or not. Gold over 20 years has really smoked the S&P and the Dow and YTD year to date and a year ago from today. Gold has over here. This is where SPY really beat it. But I mean, just look at IAU over here. We're at $8. We're at basically 50 now. So we went up like 6x. The SPY has now went up 600% from 06 to now. It's up like 200 and something percent, right? It has not done that. Gold is up a lot, a whole lot. So, but people overlook it for some reason. There is limited downside risk there. There's no company. There's no bad management. There's none of that. There's no diluting the shares. Let's take a look at Bitcoin. I'm getting too into this here. Monthly looks fantastic to me, but let's take a look at the weekly. Overall, I am bullish on crypto, and I have been since last year. April of last year of 2023 is when I started. I don't know why this open interest thing always pops up. Is whenever I was calling it out. Right over in here, when we were around 27, I was very bullish on it. And it's went up, 3x since then. I've been bullish on Ethereum. That looks horrible. Look where the body is. That looks odd. It looks like it's going to end up sucking back at some point. We want this area, it looks like. I don't. It wants this area between 54 and 52. Right in here. This is where I see Bitcoin. Right? And I think it's going to just continue to dip and then recover and dip and then recover. When they start cutting interest rates, if everything holds up, I expect it to go. Look at the cup and handle on the monthly. This could take many months to play out. When am I really bullish on crypto? Right, and keep in mind alts will get crushed in the meantime. If Bitcoin has a tiny bit of a pullback. November. If they do not cut now, they will in November. If they do cut now, I still think they will in November. So Bitcoin's very interest rate sensitive. Again, this is bullish. This does not look like a big dip. Now, if you bought the very tippy top, well, all I can say to you, do I think we're going to pass the high? Absolutely. But what I can say, look at that on a daily, guys. Let me finish this part. What I can say is this. Remember this. Remember the 4-year cycle and look to 2027, mid-2027. That is where I will start scaling in again. I'll probably have more gray hair by then, which is so crazy. I thought 2024 was going to be far away during COVID. It went by like that. But for the 2028 halving. And there's not going to be much Bitcoin to be mined after that. There's like hardly anything left. So I'll do another separate video on crypto later, but I'm almost repeating myself at this point. Each halving cycle, pop will not be as aggressive as the prior one. And we've seen that based on history. So what you can do is when we have violent dumps like that, I mean, you could have picked the damn thing up at $15,000. 15,000. I know futures say a different price, but you could have bought like 2 of them for 30 grand and more than doubled your money, sold one and walked away with whopping profit and a free Bitcoin. So, and a really good price. But let's go back to the daily. Oh gosh. That looks horrible. Absolutely horrible. We're below everything over here on these EMAs. I don't know which EMAs I have up here. I'm pretty sure this is a mix of a day trading and a swing trading script. I don't have time to switch this up right now. But that looks awful. And I will be bullish again when we get in this area. Either here, following the trend, or this fib, the 53,705, 53.7. Right? And do I need to see it to the cent? No, but it looks like it's hovering in space, just hanging on and about to go ahead and drop off there and come back down to where it wants to go. And every time it went below there, it sucked up and respected it. So that's where we're at. Guys, inflation. So crypto, I'm bearish. I'm bearish short term, that is. Don't tell me people in the Discord are like, wait a second, you're bearish for the next week based on technical analysis? Why did you buy crypto? It's like, what? I'm holding it for like 6 months. I'm bullish overall on it. We're in the halving cycle. It's never not gone on the halving. And there's a lot of there's a lot going on with it right now. You know, depending on who gets in, one candidate may be adding it to the balance sheet for the Fed. I mean, that is huge. Japanese pensions trying to fix their failing pensions with Bitcoin. Countries adding them as their currency. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy. So, inflation, we're too late. It's too late. Even if they do it, they would have to do like a whole point hike, a cut. It's too late, and they're only going to do a little dinky quarter, and they're like, we'll wait 4 months, and we'll start in 2025. It's like, you guys just don't learn. Why do they do it like that? I don't see what the benefit is to wait so long to hike interest rates and to cut interest rates. You're going to wait till it's too late both times. You got it wrong going in, you're getting it wrong coming out. So, but the Fed is going to be buying paper again. And we'll see how everything reacts to all this. But again, just because we cut interest rates does not mean we're going to go up overall. And again, interest rate cuts have triggered 2 crashes in the past. And we were high when they cut. Not everything's going to be like COVID or 2018. That was a great one. 2018, the crash of 2018 was just a ballparker for 2019. Don't want to get off topic. For those of you that are around, spreads and the premiums were fantastic. Unlike COVID, they were horrible. But anyways, again, to recap everything, I'm a little bit bearish on gold based on bearish divergence we got on the weekly. I'm bearish in the short term on Bitcoin. That's what technical analysis said. I'm bullish on SPY and the market going into FOMC. And I am bearish on, there's SMCI over here, and I am bearish on quad witching this time around. After that, heads or tails, flip a coin, right? So if you guys like this content, make sure to like and follow for more.